G'day and welcome to another edition of So to Dusty Page. Today we are going to have a flick through of the Perilous Dark Frostgrave supplement written by Joseph O. McCullough in 2019. That's 5 years ago now, so there's a little bit of dust on this. There's 96 pages of goodness in this book. My last video covered the mechanics and the detail quite well, I thought. So if you really want to know and understand mechanics that Joseph introduces in this book, please check that video out. I have no idea how to make a link thing to it, but it'll be in my playlist. So let's just have a quick journey through Perilous Dark. It is the supplement that really details solo play and co-op play as opposed to adversarial stuff. Look, it's generic. I mean, all these supplements are very much the same. They're well laid out, context, index, and you can take it through. Also of note, the artwork, again, is by Dimitri and Kate Burmack, and it's just outstanding. So let's get into it. We have our introduction as per normal, and he talks about, if you want some different updates, you can go to the Reminiscence Trial blogspot, which is Joseph's page. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the artwork. That is quite frightening, actually, but that's the quality of it. It is outstanding. So the basics, it talks about what changes he sort of made to the game. It talks about playing for objectives as opposed to treasure, or defeating an enemy. So that could be your objective. Different experience options. Goes through what the book doesn't do, and that really is just a disclaimer about he doesn't reproduce an opposing wizard for you to fight solo. That's very difficult to do. He sort of had a crack at it in Mortal Enemies, if you've got that supplement. And it just talks about levels of difficulty, and you've got to just probably experiment with that as you play. The creatures and the phases change in the game. As I said, I covered this in my other video, but you had the wizard phase, then you have a creature phase of quite tough creatures, so fight plus 5 or health greater than 20. And you have a creature phase, and then you have your soldier phase. So bit of order, and that mechanic really does work very well. There's a few changes to some spells. What else do we have here? Yeah, so this creature that you see here is a Brock. Now it's introduced in the creature section of the book. And it just, these are different concepts: limited time and unlimited monsters, broadly. And it talks about the different methods of doing it, monster spawning and different methods of time. And as I normally do, I don't go into the scenarios, but each scenario introduces the rules that precede it. Then we go into, this is the next scenario. Oops, I've missed a page perhaps. No. And that is the Ballista miniature that is available from the North Star and Osprey range. It talks about making specific spawn points for your adventure rather than using generic monster tables in the core rule book. Again, these are Magnamites, I think. Again, they're available at Osprey, and they're the crows. God, I can't think what they're called, but they're chapter 2 talks about traps and obstacles, and then you obviously get to experience some of those. in these couple of scenarios, and then you have there's a quick conversation about the old boss monster, and you get to do that. And then we have, obviously, well, it surmised that this is a werewolf and some wolves, and it talks about going into the unknown, introducing clue markers, so you might find, you know, one piece of a treasure map on one adventure. And it really starts to talk about exploratory adventures in rooms, buildings, as opposed to the open Frostgrave City war ground. And then obviously you get some more scenarios explaining this. He's got a room card table set up for you to actually have a look at. And then you get into dungeon crawls, which are really quite good. I think this is what they call a matriarch, a giant spider in the Frostgrave setting. They actually, Osprey and North Star haven't produced a matriarch model to my knowledge. I could be happily corrected in the comments if you think so, but I use the matriarch model out of Massive Darkness, the core rulebook. That's got a really big spider in it. And it just talks about dungeon cards, which are a bit different to room cards. So, you know, this is more underground delving, lots of corridors, your traditional D&D sort of realm. And it talks about closely connected scenarios. So, say if you got into this, you could probably use Keeper of the Borderlands, and you've got all the different caves in the Caves of Chaos. That would be a similar, you know, way. You've got all these little dungeon crawls that you do, and yeah, and you get those scenarios to explain and take you through those rules. You get some new treasure for solo play, which is great. Again, just a nice piece of artwork here from Dimitri and Kate, an empowered elementalist, I assume. Yeah, and you get some different treasures. It would be really good to gather all the tables or the different magic items into one sort of place, and then be able to have the opportunity to pick up a magical treasure from all the tables. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, staff ring, mind stones, an orb plinth. This allows you to charge orbs of power and wands of power and staffs of power, that sort of thing. Yeah, but we go into the vestry, and I think these are mana worms in the picture. The Bane of Wizards. Yeah, you get a very large, mean ballista that can shoot huge bolts at you. The Baroque, the Minotaur Null Cross, a Chrono Hound. I haven't picked up those models yet, but I intend to. They've got some quite interesting traits of, you know, never wounded, immune to poison, see invisible, and always have line of sight. So, yeah, Hellcrow, that was what I was trying to think of what the monster was before in the previous picture. Magnemite's little lava volcanic creatures. There's the mana worm, which I pointed out before, the large spider, the matriarch. And these guys, the planar lurkers. Now, I think this is a fantastic picture. I think I've nailed down a Reaper model that I'm going to purchase for this. Yeah, it's quite inspiring. Really draws you in. You get the Reaver whites. Again, I don't think there's a model for these, but I've found some whites online that are printed by someone, and I think they're going to be the bomb. And your vapor snakes, and these come in large and small, and they're available from North Star. So look, all in all, this is a must-have supplement if you want to be able to play solo. It's really good fun. It's well laid out. Rules are quite straightforward. If you can take the time to check out my other video on a more detailed discussion on the core mechanics and some of my own for solo play, please check out my playlist of my Frostgrave. Anyway, thank you to all the people that have liked and subscribed. If you've got any comments, got any thoughts, put them in the comments below, and we can have a yarn about some different ideas. But again, be safe and have a great day. Cheers.